Welcome to Rocket League Tabletop Tactics, where I'm going to explain to you how to position better in Rocket League using these Hot Wheels and my tabletop to help you rank up in Rocket League. So today we're going to be describing quite a fundamental theory that I have, and hopefully you'll know where you're meant to be a little bit better. So it's called 1, 2, 3 positioning, and what it does is it gives each person a role on the pitch at any given moment, and it will help you to know what you should be doing, and it stops double commits is the main benefit of it. So what you're looking at right here is a scaled down top view of the pitch. So you've got your boost pads in the corners. These here are your goals. The cars are oversized, but it's the general area that they're representing, and this here is the ball. So firstly, what do I mean by 1, 2, 3? So it means that each car is either 1, 2 or 3. So car 1 is the one who is contesting the ball. So let's just say in this example the ball is over on this side, and when I say contest, I mean they're either going to win it, they're going to challenge it and make it a 50-50, or they're going to be close to winning it, so they might just narrowly miss out on it. But the way this 1, 2, 3 positioning works is that should cover that. So here we got this car, and I'm just going to represent what line and what position they're in. So what you can see here is this car is probably one of the furthest up the pitch, and it's the one that's on the most left of the pitch, we shall assume, and that'll be useful later on, but you'll see why that becomes important as we go into number 2. So player 2 is the person who's most likely to be passed to or clean up after player 1 if they get a challenge. So what they're going to want to do is they're going to want to be a similar distance up, if not just slightly behind, and they're also going to want to be on the other side of the pitch. It's very theoretical, and you find your comfortable position based off of how the ball is acting. So they're going to be behind them likely, maybe even in front if there's an opportunity to get a pass there, but they're probably going to be behind them looking for a pass, ready to come up and act on what they see. So we'll just draw their lines in now. Okay, so now that we've done that, 1 is contesting the ball, 2 is ready for a pass. They could be in lots of different positions, but normally they want to be on the other side of the pitch over there. So 3, their main role is to cover every possible outcome that could go wrong. And the reason why this is very theoretical, I'll explain in a bit, but imagine they have the perfect opportunity to position themselves. They will probably want to be covering this line down here in case the teammate loses out and the ball falls back. They'll probably also want to be covering behind the person being passed to, because if the ball comes into the middle and they clear it out to the opposite side, then they need to come over. So they need to go in a very neutral position, which will normally be between these two lines. Okay? The problem is your car orientation makes a big difference as to what you can get to. So you have to act based off of what you see. So imagine your car is pointing in this direction, then you probably don't need to be as far over. If your car is pointing in this direction, you probably want to be more towards your player 2 so that you can cover across. But ultimately, you want to be far back and covering for your teammates. So let's assume you're in the middle between the two. Okay, so now that we've placed down all of the lines to show where people are, you'll see that now there's a very general ranking system of 1 is normally furthest up the pitch and in line with the ball, 2 is normally on the opposite side of the pitch and just behind, but again it can go in very much different directions, and as play progresses you'll see it'll be different, and then 3 will want to be the furthest back and fairly neutral between the two players. So now that I've explained those best positions, you're probably going to be thinking, but in a game we're always moving, so this is never going to be the situation we're in. Now that is very true, and often what will happen is position 3 will be going back to collect boost. So if position 3 is going back to collect boost on either side, then they're going to have collected that boost and moved into that 3 position by the time the ball has reacted with people. Now that is just how rotations work. They're happening constantly at the same time, but the other thing is you're not always going to have the same player in position 1, you're not always going to have the same player in position 2, and likewise with 3. So once 1 here has done something with the ball, they are instantly then position 3, unless there is something obvious they can do to break that rotation to try and help their team. So 1 hits the ball, say it goes into the midfield. They are then position 3, so they either collect that boost or they just go straight away and they start filtering back. And as that's happening, position 3 then becomes position 2, and then position 2 becomes position 1. So everyone moves up a rank. And this will keep happening over and over again as your team keeps flowing in until you either break that rotation, to say at some point, like I said, position 1 might be able to do more, or there might be another opportunity. But this is the general rotation of players you're going to want to do. You're going to keep rotating 1 in towards the ball, 2 is going to be in a good position to pass, and 3 is going to be furthest back. I said this is a hard concept, and I mean it's a hard concept. The best thing to do, I think, is to look at an example now and see how top teams do it, but it's going to have to be very slow because this is constantly changing in game. Okay, we're back now, and I'm using leftovers because as a team, they're the ones who follow this very well, mainly because of Siki, and I know I rave about Siki a lot, but he is a very good positioner and one who allows a team to all position well. So let's watch this here. So Snasky is 1, clearly, and you can see Ferrer is pushing up into that 2 position, expecting to be the next person the ball's coming to. And Siki is currently covering back as 3, and you'll see he realigns himself because he realises he was too far over to the right. And now he's in a strong 3 position, and now his 2 teammates are out the game. So technically, they are now both 3 because they can't interact with this ball unless a situation arises itself. So Siki, Snasky and Ferrer are all 3s. And that's a tough position to be in because that means it's likely for Flipside to counter. But what you'll notice here, Siki then pushes up to a 1. And that's the toughest thing to do from 3, is transition into the play and choosing the right time. Normally it's a weak clear that does it, or you see an opportunity to go up and challenge because someone's dribbling, but it's very tough to move up from 3 into 1. And normally what you need to do is you need to wait for a teammate to go back, like Snasky is here. So Snasky is now 3, Siki is 1, and Ferrer is still out the game. Right, and you'll see Snasky missed the boost, which is awkward because it means he didn't get to the 3 position as quickly as he'd like to, and now Ferrer is 1. So they haven't had a 2 for a while, and when you haven't got a 2, it's very tough to score because you need someone to pass to. So Ferrer wins that challenge, and now we see Siki is 1, Snasky bumps Ferrer, but Snasky's now 2, and Ferrer is 3. So now they're in that strong position of a 1-2-3. Snasky is nicely far across, goes in for the challenge, but it does get blocked out. So now there is no 1 and 2, and we got Ferrer as our 3 again. But Ferrer chooses the right time to push up because he knows that I think Siki is rotating back on this far side, so he can push on that ball as a 1, and Snasky is kind of now sitting in a 2 position, a very unusual 2 position, because if the ball does come to him, he's upfield, so he has to outplay someone who is nearby, who I think is Cooks here at the moment. So you see Ferrer gets that up there, Snasky goes for a bit of a doink, and you see Siki pushes up as 1 now. So Siki is 1, Snasky is 2, Ferrer is now 3. So you can see how it looks very different to what we were describing on the table, but it does kind of move back into that 1-2-3 positioning. And the reason why these guys are so tight upfield rather than having a very deep player is because at this level you have to back your teammate to make the touches that aren't going to give away a big strong clear, which is why that 3 can push up a bit further, and it means that it's clamped down Flipside quite a lot. So we continue watching. Snasky's shot from that 2 position wasn't very strong, but he's now 1. Ferrer is 2. Siki has recognised that Snasky's missing it, so then becomes 1. And then Snasky will be rotating back now to 3, where Ferrer is waiting where he was a 2. It's all very confusing. I'm saying 1-2-3 a lot, but I hope you're getting the concept that the person going for the ball is recognised by his team that he is player 1. Then anyone who is upfield ready, who can get into a good passing position, pushes into that 2 position, And when that is recognised by the whole team, player 3 will then go back and cover all options that the opposition will have. Okay, this is very complicated. So we're back to the tabletop just for a last little thing I wanted to mention, and that's about communication. So if you're playing this 1, 2, 3 with your teammates, which I assume you'll do this because it won't work with people online because people will over-rotate and come in earlier rather than allowing that 3 player to push up. Now the reason why this is so important, and it's because of that player 3, the one who is furthest back. So if we get them all lined back up again in our scenario that we had before, player 3 is the most important, no matter where they are. If they're right up like we saw Leftovers had, or if they're far back having collected the furthest back boost, this is the most important player because they are the one who defines the rhythm of the team. And they're the ones who will also probably be communicating. If you're in a team of friends and you're in comms, this person here is the one who should be talking the most because they're the one who can see everything. So they are your sweeper role. If anyone plays football, soccer or whatever, you have a sweeper, so the person who's furthest back who can see what's going on and they're the ones telling everyone what to do. Okay, so why is this 3 so important? As you saw in that Leftovers example, you often have it where both player 1 and player 2 commit and then are out the game. And technically then, they are transitioning into that 3 position unless otherwise decided. So say we've got both these players, they are out of the game at the back and they're rotating back out, and while that's happening, this player here, player 3, has a very important role because they define how easy it is for the opposition to break through, because they're essentially 1v3ing at that point. And it's a very different 1v3 because they have to slow things down, so they have to stall the game out, and by doing that it allows their teammates to either come in and interact early or filter in behind, as we saw Siki do quite a lot, and Farah, and allow that 3 to push up and then become number 1. Now I've said 1, 2 and 3 a lot during this episode. You might need to rewatch it over and over again. Try and come to terms with the role of each player in your team at any given moment. Who's the aggressor, who's the likely passing player, and who's the sweeper covering for everyone at the back. 1, 2 and 3. And if that makes sense to you, I'm sure you'll be able to rotate incredibly smoothly. As you get used to this, you won't even need to think about it, you'll just filter into those excellent positions. And if you've got any questions, be sure to leave them down below. This will probably be the most complex tutorial I will be doing. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. Thank you for watching.